Honors Algebra. This is your lesson, your flipped lesson for Monday night. Sorry it took me a little bit longer to get it on. Was very busy today helping students at lunch and after school. All right, guys, only a few more weeks to go and we're on break. So, direct variation. I know most of you know the equation is y equals kx, and you're very good at solving if I tell you that x and y very directly. You can solve for k, then go ahead and solve for either y or x in a new situation. Some of you are having a little trouble with the graph, so I thought we would focus on that tonight. And I have a situation here where I have mapped out Schmeel's, that's a friend of mine, Schmeel. He went driving and he recorded the distance he had gone at certain hours. And you can tell on this graph that he went, let's see here, he went 60 miles after 4 hours. Not a very fast driver, I wouldn't think. After 120 miles, I'm sorry, after 8 hours, it'd been 120 miles. Do I have a mistake there? Hold on one second. There we go. I had a small mistake in my graph. Sorry about that. Fortunately, I caught it before James got to point it out. All right, 60 miles, 4 hours, 8 hours. He went a total of 120 miles. And then after 12 hours, he had gone 180 miles, which, he's not driving very fast. Okay. Now, remember, you can do this the hard way. You can use the y equals kx equations, or you can take something you already know. Remember, use what we already know. The days of learning isolated incident, you learn about proportions, then you learn about fractions, and then you learn about solving equations. And, they're not different. They're all intertwined. And algebra is really cool because it puts them all together for you. So, I know what rise and run are. I know slope. I know my slope is the same thing as the constant of variation. So I'm going to calculate my rise and my run. All right. Well, I rise, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I rose 4. You guys know that's not true. Don't tell me you rose 4. I'm not counting by ones on my vertical axis. I am counting by, what am I counting by? Let's see here. 60, 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. What am I counting by? Oh, I'm counting by 15s, aren't I? So if I go up 15, 30, 45, 60. Now some of you are saying, Mr. Lawrence, I know that that's a difference of 60. Absolutely, but I just wanted to show you that I'm counting by 15s. All right? So, excuse me, my run. My run is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it is not. My run goes from 4 hours to 8 hours. Therefore, my run is 4. Well, if my rise is 60 miles and my run is 4 hours, need an H in there, sorry. Simplifying that fraction, I must get 15 miles per hour. Yeah, per means divide. 15 miles per hour. So Schmiel is not going very fast. All right, let's look at another example. In this case, Schmiel was going to a local university, What's the Matter U, as a matter of fact, and he found out that they charge $500 each semester before he can register for his classes. So he has to pay $500 right off the top. Then he has to pay so much for credit hours. Now, I don't know how much per credit hour, but I can figure it out. I'm going to find 2 points on my graph. Look at that. 4 credits costs him $800. Okay. And then 8 credits is going to cost him $1,100, $1,100. Okay. Okay. So I chose those 2 points because they're relatively close to each other. I will figure out my rise, and again, whoa, where are you going, Chief? I will figure out my rise, which looks like I'm going up $300, right? From one point to the next, I go up $300, and then my run is for 4 credit hours. 4 hours, 4 credit hours. So that means my constant of variation is going to be $300 over 4 credit hours. Well, if I simplify that fraction, I will end up with $75 per credit hour. All right. Pretty easy, but you got to do it the simple way. Now, by the way, I could write an equation out of this. I know that $75 per credit hour is my slope, don't I? It's my constant of variation is also my slope. And I look at my y-intercept. My y-intercept is the place where the line crosses the y-axis. That's right here. That's the point 0, 500, right? Well, now I can write my equation. Remember, when I write my equation, I need to put in values for m and b, but I will leave the variables y and x in. So this equation would actually equal y, it's actually be y equals 75x plus 500. And knowing this equation, Shmuel could figure out how much he'll have to spend based on the number of credit hours he takes. If he takes 10 credit hours, 75 times 10 plus the 500, that'll give him his price. Let's back up really quick to this problem, Shmuel driving. I know my slope is 15, right? I found that already. What's my y-intercept? Let's think about this. Some of you are probably shouting 0. That's a good thought. The y-intercept would be here. If Shmuel has driven for 0 hours, how many miles has he gone? 0 miles. So the y-intercept is 0. So my equation in this case would be y equals 15x. All right, that's the lesson for tonight. Believe it or not, tomorrow you get some more practice doing some word problems, interpreting graphs, that kind of thing. And then tomorrow night we'll get on to chapter 6. All right, Mr. Lawrence signing off.